Another quarterback who will be present, and a guy that we talked about a lot more than Trevor Lawrence because we knew where Trevor Lawrence was going. We didn't know where Trey Lance was going. We didn't know what the 49ers were going to do. He will be at rookie minicamp, and he said, among other things, I can't wait to have teammates again. This is a guy whose team, North Dakota State, played one game last year. One game. And I still don't know what the 49ers are doing, and I don't know how many years Trey Lance is going to sit on the bench. He's already got 1 year where he didn't play much football. Is there going to be a second year where he doesn't play much football? Is there going to be a third year where he doesn't play much football? Who knows? But at least for him, he commences the process of getting up to speed. And I think it's a crash course because ideally what the 49ers should want is Trey Lance to be ready to go. That the coaching staff believes it. The locker room believes it. He's ready to go. Jimmy G, you go to him late August and you say, hey, we need to cut your pay to $12 million or it's take a hike time. That's what they should hope they're able to do. If they can't trade him, you don't pay him $25 million. You don't have to pay him $25 million. The guy that we gave up 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick to get is ready to go.
Right, exactly. And this, I mean, it reminds me of the Carson Wentz situation, and it's an easy comp to make, especially because we're talking about 2 North Dakota State QBs. But look, I think everybody thought, or at least the prevailing thought was at that time in 2016, that Carson Wentz was not going to necessarily start the season as the starter because they had somebody like Sam Bradford. But as time went on, it became clear that Carson Wentz could start in week 1. And so then when that catastrophic knee injury happens with Teddy Bridgewater in Minnesota, then Sam Bradford gets to be traded and the Eagles pick up an extra pick. So I think you don't, first of all, you never hope for anybody to get like a catastrophic knee injury. That's something that you certainly don't want to see, but usually something happens in August. And I think that at a certain point, the 49ers are probably going to say to themselves, well, if we can get something for Jimmy Garoppolo, then that's probably what we want to do. Because at least that's the ideal situation. Because you don't want Trey Lance, I think, to sit for another season of football. It has been so long since he was playing football consistently. When you're talking about, man, I can't wait to have teammates again, because it's been that long since you've had them, since you've been able to go out there and compete with guys. And that's something that QBs love. You know, they love to be part of the guys. They love to be leaders. They love to be teammates. So if that's what they want, then that, I think, is going to really kind of help Trey Lance to be like, all right, I need to come in here and I need to establish myself as somebody who is going to challenge Jimmy Garoppolo for this starting quarterback job for week 1. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple months.
Yeah, and crash course, learn the offense, get Kyle Shanahan to the point where he can trust this guy. I think that is one of the key aspects of the Trey Lance and any young quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. Can I trust you? Are you the guy that can be? And Chris Sims always talks about this as it relates to John Gruden. It's his high-end performance sports car, and you have the keys to it as the quarterback. Can you be trusted with those keys? That's going to be one of the challenges for Kyle Shanahan. And if there is any truth to the idea, and I think there is truth to the idea that he wanted Mac Jones when they traded up 6-7 weeks ago to get the pick that became Trey Lance, that may make him more likely to not be willing to hand the keys over immediately. And maybe they are locked into Jimmy Garoppolo for a year. The thing about the 49ers, if they're trying to create the impression among the rest of us that we don't know what they're doing, they're succeeding. Because I don't know what they're doing, and I really do wonder at times whether, when we look at the broader scope since March 26th when they made the trade, whether they know what they're doing, Myles.
Well, look, I mean, since that day, when you and I got on the air on PFTPM, we've been saying that Jimmy Garoppolo is not long for this world with the 49ers. I mean, we didn't quite go as far as Kyle Shanahan when he said that, we might not all even make it to Sunday, but I think it was pretty clear that you don't want to pay Jimmy Garoppolo the $25 million he's owed, especially when you go up that far and you pick a QB. It just doesn't seem like something that they should do. Like, logically, with all that we know about the NFL, Mike, with all the years that you've been covering the NFL, it just doesn't seem like something that they should do, following everything that we know about what it takes for quarterbacks, and especially now in this day and age where you basically have 3 years to figure out if your quarterback is good or not because otherwise you don't know what to do with that 5th-year option. You don't know what to do when it comes to signing them to a long-term extension. So from the time that you draft a guy, that clock starts. So that clock is now, it's ticking, man. And so I think that they have to figure out what they're going to do with Trey Lance. And I think, especially because he hasn't played as much football, you got to get him out there on the field sooner than later so you can actually see what he's doing. And plus, I don't necessarily know the intricacies of the Kyle Shanahan offense, but I do feel like if there's a scheme that protects what the QB does, it's that one. And think about what Brian Hoyer did with the Browns in 2014. Think how good that Matt Ryan looked in 2016 with that offense. Like, there's a way, I feel like, for a rookie to come in there, show that he can do something, and then get out on the field and look really good. So I don't know. I still tend to think that Lance will be out there sooner than later, and Jimmy Garoppolo won't be there.
It really is a strange situation. You have a quarterback who took you to the Super Bowl when healthy, possibly not because of his skills, but because of the offense. Remember when Kyle got freaked out against the Vikings in the divisional round? It became Bob Greasy playing quarterback for the 49ers until the Super Bowl. And then he missed the throw in the Super Bowl that was a championship throw that could have won the trophy for the 49ers. And now this idea that they've pivoted away from Garoppolo because he can't stay healthy. So they give up 3 1s and a 3 to get his replacement, but we're not replacing him with his replacement just yet. We're going to reserve the right to have him, as Jed York, the CEO of the team, said recently, for up to 2 more years. It just doesn't fit because there are other alternatives. First of all, you could have sat at 12 and see who fell to you, and you don't have to give up 2 extra 1s and a 3 to get another quarterback. Maybe Trey Lance would have been there. Mac Jones was there. Now, and that's the thing. The 49ers weren't one of those teams that we would have circled as, oh, there's a quarterback hotspot. It would have been a surprise. Just like it would have been a surprise for the Vikings to take Justin Fields at 14 if Fields had been there. We'd have been like, holy crap, look at this. If they just keep their mouths shut, they could have set it up. And if all else fails, take a guy in one of the later rounds and develop him to be a real backup to Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy you can trust, not like C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins, and then give Garoppolo 1 more year. If you believe in what the guy can do when he's healthy, then give him another year to see if he can be healthy. I mean, he was healthy all of 2019. Just because he tore his ACL in 2018 and suffered an ankle injury last year that caused him to miss 10 games, that doesn't mean he's going to, tumble down the steps like Gerald Ford and not playing any games this year. There's a timely reference for you.
Wow.
So I don't get how this is happening, Myles, and I'm going to revert back to something that I've said recently. I think that they're so freaked out by the fact that they didn't bite on Patrick Mahomes in 2017, that they told Tom Brady, no thank you, to his Bay Area homecoming last year. We're good with Jimmy G. Those 2 things have caused them to do some things that to an outsider might look a little kooky because I think they're getting desperate to rectify their past mistakes.
Well, that's an interesting point because I think that whenever you start to think about, what I didn't do in life, man, I have this regret because I didn't do X and I didn't do Y. And so that sets up yourself to say, well, I'm going to do it different now for Z, right? And I guess that's kind of what's happening. But, you say they're saying that you still believe in Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, obviously you don't, because you don't trade up, all those picks to get to number 3 to obviously take a quarterback if you believe in the guy that you have. You just don't do that. I mean, it's the same thing that you could have said about Kansas City and Alex Smith in 2017, right? You don't trade up to get to number 10 overall and then select a guy and then you're saying, oh yeah, we still believe in this quarterback that we have. I mean, obviously you really don't, because no matter what you think, or no matter what you say, you clearly think that in order to actually win a championship, in order to actually bring home the Lombardi trophy, you had to go up and get this guy, right? And so obviously it worked in Kansas City. They've raised the trophy and they've been to 2 consecutive Super Bowls. And since Patrick Mahomes has been starting, they haven't finished any worse than the AFC Championship game. It remains to be seen how that's going to work in San Francisco, because I don't know if it's really that much of a viable option to still say, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, you're our starter all year. You got to figure he's going to get hurt at some point just based on the history. And then Trey Lance is going to be in there anyway. So I don't know. It obviously, from what their actions have shown, that they do not believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Last point. I just love to know what the 49ers would do if the Packers would call them up now and say, how about Nick Bosa, George Kittle? Because it's not like they have first-round draft picks to give.
Right.
But
right.
start picking names off the roster. We'll give you Aaron Rodgers. What would they do? And, and if they'd have had Tom Brady fall into their lap this year versus last year, they probably would have said yes, because this is the year they decided they can no longer trust Jimmy G to be on the field.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.